This episode of Spectre Sound Studios is brought to you by Adam Audio.
Just thought I'd say that I heard that the new Trapt album sold 600 copies in its first week. I think 598 of those were the lead singer.
Yeah, and the other two were purchased by his mom. Hello! Hope you're having a marvelous time recording and mixing. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm at Spitfire's studio. I'm down here in LA for the duration. Warren and I are going to be working out of the same space for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I hope you guys don't mind the change in scenery. Oh no, I've got this great big SSL to play with. Whatever will I do? Anyway, welcome to SMG Viewers Comments, my weekly show where I answer your comments and questions about recording to the absolute best of my ability. We're going to have some really cool stuff coming up on the show, some, of course, gear reviews and whatnot, but some cool tutorials as well. Just basically, I'm going to steal as many ideas as I can from Warren and then pass them along to you guys in a more metal context. So if you guys have questions about recording, I will do my best to answer them. Just leave them below. Anyway, let's get right to it.
So, since I've been watching, I've heard you bag on gear sluts a few times. I tend to agree, but where would you suggest going to find reliable reviews? Sound on soon and the like always seem to be positive. Everything is wonderful, just spend your money, and I'm still learning my way around, so I'm not sure who I can use as a reasonable starting point. While I agree, listening for yourself is always the best way to decide. That's not always possible. Thanks for everything, and F you, Glenn.
Well, I would definitely recommend checking out my series, Fearless Gear Reviews, which is completely independently funded, and I take a look at a piece of gear, evaluate if it's good or it's bad, and if it's really bad, it gets what's known as the hammer of truth. Those are the really fun episodes. Unfortunately, really bad pieces of gear don't seem to be coming down the pipe very much anymore. I think manufacturers have gotten scared of appearing on that show and have kind of stepped their game up. Line 6 definitely stepped their game up with the Spider 5 Mark II firmware and the Pod Go, which I just did a review on. Hopefully I'm going to get that episode in the pipe real soon because it was a pretty impressive piece of gear, actually. I actually liked it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it says Pod and it doesn't suck. Anyway, you know, this is the best thing you can do is just watch YouTube. I mean, you can read articles, but it's really hard to hear how something sounds by a magazine article or an online post. So yeah, check out YouTube videos. I'd recommend checking out my stuff. I don't know, there's a million pedal shows out there. You can check out That Pedal Show comes to mind. You can check out Warren Hewitt's show. He always has some killer gear on his stuff as well over at Produce Like a Pro, and he's got some pretty cool tips. Just not for the super heavy stuff though, unfortunately. That's where I come in. Anyway, if there's something you guys would really like to see reviewed and I can make it happen, I will try and do that. So keep your eyes peeled, and most of all, make sure you hit that fucking subscribe button. That way you get notified when those reviews come out.
Sweetwater has a used gear marketplace on their website, and there are no fees.
You know, here's the thing. The more I deal with Sweetwater, the more I like dealing with them. They're just awesome people. They've got some killer gears. They've got great selection. Their shipping's great. My sales guy, Jeff Allen, is great. If you guys have any questions at Sweetwater, go hit him up. He's a really good dude. And you know what? I'll admit right here, I am affiliated with Sweetwater. I went to GearFest there a couple times. Unfortunately, they didn't have one this year. And I just thought they were really genuinely awesome people. So I'm very happy to be working alongside them. That makes me feel great that they've got a used gear marketplace that's free to use. It definitely seems like an awesome alternative to Reverb. Maybe we should all just kind of migrate over there. What do you think?
Basis question here. What is the analogy for the Big Muff?
Really?
Come to Brazil, we pay 10 times the price even though the exchange fee is 5 times. And our Reverb charges us 10% out of every sale.
Yeah, wow, man, I'm very sorry to hear that. That kind of sucks. Sounds like you guys need to elect a government that's not going to completely fuck you over. Or fuck over the Amazon for that matter. Best of luck, dudes. All I can say is just get out and vote when the vote does come up. It's the only way you're going to make a change. Hey everybody, just gonna break in here for a second. This episode is sponsored by Adam Audio. Now, you guys have seen me mix with these guys. These are the A7Xs. I've had these for a couple years. They're great monitors. Did a lot of good stuff with these. Got some new toys in this week. Back here I got the S2Vs. They're rated for about 350 watts, and wow, do they ever kick out the jams. I'm shocked by the amount of bottom end coming out of these things, and that's thanks to the onboard DSP. You can hook these up to your machine via USB, and you can program an EQ curve and balance them out and do all kinds of neat stuff. Very cool indeed. Like I said, I've just had these for the day, and so far I'm really digging it. And you're going to hear the results over the next couple of weeks on the show because I'm going to be doing all my mixes through them. Anyway, for more information, check out adamaudio.com in the description below. Thanks to them again for sponsoring. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Glenn, I like your videos, but sometimes you're so full of shit that it's not even funny. When you're tearing into bad bass players, you tell them that it's their job to learn their lines before they get into the studio. It's not your job to teach them how to play the instrument. Then when talking about weak drum performances, you say that it's my job to teach the drummer how to play the drums correctly in order to get a decent sound out of them. Wrong! It's no more my responsibility to teach a drummer how to play the drum than it is to teach a bass player how to play their instrument.
Well, hey there, and let me clarify something. It's not my job to teach the bass player the songs. That's his job. Come in and know the songs. Oh, if we could only make that happen, that would be ever so nice. However, bass players usually don't have the technique required to play at a pro level in the studio because they've usually got a shitty amp and nobody's actually heard them. They don't hear just how terrible their muting techniques. So you've always got strings ringing out of key and just sounding just dreadful. By crom, I swear, Warren's starting to wear off of me. Did I just really say dreadful? Ugh. My point being on the drummer thing is a lot of drummers, when they come to your studio, are, again, amateurs. They have no idea how to play to mics. So it is your job to work with them to get the best performance possible out of them. And that is the true nature of a producer's job, is to get the best performance possible. And when you're working with low-level amateur bands who play at the local level, that means you're working with amateur players who have no fucking clue about what's actually required when they walk through the studio door. So yes, the job is very much teaching the musicians how to play their instruments. I really wish it wasn't. I wish I could just sit there and work on getting amazing stuff out of the band, but that's usually not the case. Usually you're going to be teaching them the very basic rudiments of working on their instrument. They're going to wind up walking out of your studio a better band because of it, but you better have a healthy dose of patience to go along with your aspirations of doing amazing stuff.
Glenn, I'm a pretty shit producer, for lack of a better term. When it comes to mixing drums, I'm straight up bass player. When it comes to recording, mixing guitars, my question is, what is your opinion on using the Fredman technique on one speaker along with condenser on another, and maybe even a room mic thrown in? I'm running a Davis Day Marshall 4x12 the Mesa Boogie dual rec head, and I'm messing around with a bunch of different ways to record it. I was curious if this would be practical, or it's just a waste of time and I should move on to something more productive. Thanks, and fuck you, Glenn.
Yeah, go for it. Try a whole bunch of different ideas. Throw up 50 mics if you want. If it sounds good, it is good. Just find what works for you. Just because a lot of guys gravitate towards a 57 in front of a vintage 30 doesn't necessarily mean you have to. Bob Marlette said this years ago. Guitar players used to try using all kinds of different gear to give them a more unique sound so they wouldn't sound like the next guy. So I say fucking right, man. Experiment, push your limits, see what you can come up with. I wish you the absolute best of luck with your pursuit.
Hey Glenn, quick question on DAWs. I use Cakewalk by BandLab, and it was completely free and a great way for me to get started. Are there any pros to using a premium DAW over something like this? I'm merely an amateur engineer recording random riffs and songs on my bedroom, but still trying to get everything I make sound as professional and polished as possible. Your channel has been an immense source of techniques and tips that have all improved my mixes, and I wonder if a free DAW may be holding me back. Cheers, and fuck you from Ireland.
Dude, when I first started out, I was using Cakewalk, and then I switched over to Sonar when that happened. And I used Sonar up until about 2003, and then I got into Saw Studio and used that for about a decade, and finally switched over to Reaper. I keep on hearing how Cakewalk is now free. I really want to pull it up and see what it can do, and try doing a couple mixes on it and see just how practical it is. But here's the thing, if you like the results you're getting, fucking go for it. I mean, the only reason anybody uses Pro Tools is because that's what the standard was 20 years ago, and the record industry changes about as often as a religion does. So they're still kind of stuck with Slow Tools doing its thing. And, if you want to work on label projects, unfortunately, that's the DAW you have to work in. It's definitely not the best solution there is these days. Not even fucking close, to be honest with you. So yeah. If you want to use Cakewalk, fucking go for it. If you want to try something different, try Reaper. At least it's a free download, and it's like $60 for a license. So you can get some really amazing tools for not a lot of money these days, and you can get some really amazing results in your bedroom. As you guys are going to see in the very near future, at the house here, Warren and I are going to be converting one of the rooms into a production space. So we're going to be partnering up with a few different brands and setting up a mix station for me to work at, and I think it's going to be cool. And if I got some really super heavy duty stuff, I'm going to come out here on the SSL, but for the most part, just doing day-to-day production, I think I'm going to be in that room. So definitely make sure you're subscribed for that as well, so you get notifications and all that good stuff. Anyway, make sure you keep watching.
Hey Glenn, I've been using Cubase for a while now. I've decided to get Reaper because in this video, also Cubase is fucking expensive for home recording. You're probably the YouTuber I spent the most time listening to, and I don't regret any minute of it. Thanks so much for giving me knowledge from a fellow Canadian, and so fuck you, Glenn.
Yeah, that's the thing. I really like Cubase. I just don't like all the bloatware that comes with it. It's a little excessive and a little bit ridiculous. But I do like that interface. The EQ's set up right on the channel strip, and then you got the compressors and whatnot. It's very well thought out. I was super impressed with it. And I finally got a 10.5 license, so I'm probably going to be doing a few more things with it at some point. Definitely worth checking out. But then again, Reaper's pretty fucking amazing these days too, especially with the new version where you can set up your EQs and compressors and get all kinds of waveform displays right on your channel strips, which is fucking amazing.
What if he doesn't want to write about current social and political issues?
Are you talking about last week's episode where I was discussing it's easy to find a subject to write about? Well, that's the thing. If you don't want to write about politics or social issues or whatnot, write about fucking fantasy. In the 80s, hairspray bands used to write about girls. We can still do that. That's still allowed. And if you write a good enough one, it's going to outrage enough people, you'll get all kinds of attention, which is kind of the point.
Trades destroy your body and the money isn't worth it. I'm a career tradesman and musician. If I could start over, I would have stuck with music no matter what. Pain I feel from a career in construction has been debilitating and robs me from the ability to play drums, my first instrument.
That's some very wise advice there, Thomas. I'm not sure what discipline you were in construction. My dad worked as an electrician, construction electrician for years and years. He didn't really have a lot of chronic pain from that, but everybody's situation, of course, is going to be different. And that is definitely a warning to those out there who might be considering a trade. I wish you had shared which one, because certain trades are definitely going to be a lot more physical than others.
The best advice my dad ever gave me was, I don't care what you do, but get a trade first. You'll always have a fallback plan, and they can never take away your trade ticket. I'm a power line technician. I made $130K plus the last 10 years as I worked. My son is an electrician. My brother's a plumber. His son has 4 trade tickets. My other brother is a meat cutter. Get a trade! You'll be making more money than your educated friends and not have $200K plus student loan debt to get out from under. These are my thoughts, not yours. Cheers, Glenn, and Thor would hammer the Dark Lord of the Mount who you keep yelling about his hairy balls.
Yes, the old my God's better than your God analogy. Anyway, I think that's a great opposite look at the spectrum. My grandfather was a power line technician. Yes, pays well. Also one of the most dangerous jobs you can get. One wrong move and you are fucked. So you have to be incredibly careful when you go up on those poles to work on those lines. My grandfather had an incident where he went to go work on a pole one morning, climbed up there and whatnot, and they usually tie off a harness and lean back in it so they can do their work, and he didn't tie his harness off all the way, and boom, down he went. Wound up in the hospital. He survived, but definitely messed him up. You grabbed the wrong thing, you are fucking dead. So cheers to you, my friend. You have an incredibly dangerous job. And anytime somebody ever whines about, police have dangerous jobs, yeah, try going up on the power lines. That's a dangerous job. So yes, there's definitely pros and cons to the trades. If you don't know what to do and you don't want to get saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, yes, trades are definitely an option, but there is a danger factor and there is a physical toll on your body factor as well. It really depends on the person, the trade, and what you want to do. But it's definitely a career option and it beats the hell out of flipping burgers.
Hey Glenn, after watching you and Scott talk about amp sims and how to get good tone, I started realizing that the average Joe could do some amazing things with plugins. I started to look into mixing, but I have no idea where to start, and once I figure out how to do it, I have to start from scratch every time as the way to apply the settings I like.
Yes, get Reaper and use templates. It's really simple. You can save templates for everything. That sets up your mixer, that sets up your routing, all that shit. Definitely recommend looking into that. Makes me wonder, would you guys like to see an episode on Reaper templates?
Shit, Glenn, when I saw your video, I thought, fine, another bass plugin, but my bass tones are pretty good already. Fuck, I was so wrong. I just bought it and I'm blown away by the tones I can get with it and how much better my mixes sound. Thank you, man. This is a game changer for me right now.
Well, of course, you're talking about the demo I did on the Mammoth bass by Aurora DSP. Absolutely killer plugins, like $40. If you don't know where to start, definitely take a look at it. At least grab the demo and try it out. It's freaking awesome.
Stop being poor and buy a decent computer.
Hey, Gordon, have you ever considered not being an asshole? Try and consider that maybe not everybody has the same income you do, and it might not be their fault either.
Great, helpful videos. Are you going to NAMM next winter?
That really depends on if there's a COVID vaccine in time. If not, I am definitely not going because I wind up getting sick like every other NAMM, and I am due this winter. So, and that's the thing, because you're shaking so many hands and whatnot, everybody gets what's known as the NAMM thrax. I really don't want to get sick when there's a pandemic going on and a deadly virus. So unless there's some kind of cure for this thing, I am most definitely not going to be attending, which sucks because NAMM's like, I always say this, it's better than Christmas. I just have so much fun at NAMM. And missing Summer NAMM this year sucked. Missing Gearfest sucked. It's just 2020's just been a big giant ball full of suck. So I'm hoping they're getting a vaccine, and you can be damn straight I will be taking that vaccine once it becomes available because I'm not a superstitious idiot. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show along. Got a lot of cool gear reviews coming up. Got a lot of cool tutorials coming up. Really want to hear from you guys. I always love reading your comments and questions. Love putting them on the show, so feel free to leave a comment or a question. I'll try and get to it. Anyway, until next time, praise Crom and crush your enemies.